been a busy last week here in Vienna. After my league matches last weekend, I had a couple of days of training, of light training, to get myself back into a bit of form, and then we had the Austrian Pro Tour, the Austrian Open, which, as luck would have it, was played in our training hall. I think it's an advantage to play a tournament in the environment that you're used to playing in, where you're used to the hall, the balls, the tables, and the general environment. We live just a 5-minute walk away from the hall as well, which is handy. It makes everything much easier to prepare your food and have somewhere to rest between your matches, and really allows you to prepare as best as possible. Played in a 3-man group. The first match was against a young Croatian player, Simovic, who's an up-and-comer, very capable young player. I think he's 18 or 19 and about 600 in the world, but definitely on his way up. I was leading 3-1 and 6-4 or 7-5, and looked to be coasting towards a fairly straightforward 4-1 victory. And then the tide turned. He won that set, and then won the 6th set 11-2. I was just struggling to even hit the ball on the table. My timing was out, my consistency was gone, and I was in trouble. The 7th set didn't start much better. I went down 6-3, and at that point called timeout. I went back to my corner and decided, okay, if I'm going to turn this match around and win it, I need to play my strengths as often as possible for the rest of the match. There, my tomahawk serve, getting real side spin, top spin contact on the ball, and my backhand side spin flick. I had to get my best shots going, or else the match was just going to get away from me. Came back out after the timeout, got myself back into the match. As I'd hoped, tomahawk started working better, really going after the spin and playing aggressively on my returner serve. I got back to 7-all, 8-all, and then won 11-8, which was a great relief. My second match the next day was against a Ukrainian player called Preshepa, who's about 250 in the world, so he's a very good player, and I felt more comfortable on the second day and took a pretty comfortable 4-0 victory. He tries to play the same type of game as I do, mainly backhand dominated player, a weaker forehand side, probably not the best footwork in the world, and I was just a bit stronger than him in the backhand to backhand diagonal, and that was the difference. Now at Pro Tours these days, it's not enough to win your qualification group, and you need to play a knockout match just to make it into the main draw, into the last 64 players. And I was drawn against a South Korean player who was ranked a fair way ahead of me, but I felt, I was playing all right. My feeling was good, and I thought I had a pretty good chance. I was wrong. I just felt terrible once I got out on the court. My timing was off, I got flustered, and my consistency fell apart, and he took a pretty comfortable 4-0 victory, and that was the end of my tournament. So, it was, I think, 140 euros, which is about $200, and 3 matches later, I was out. I was finished. Normally, a few years ago when I was living full-time in Europe on a permanent basis and playing professionally, I would have been devastated by the loss, and I would have questioned, my game and my direction and how I could come out and lose 4-0 in that sort of situation. But I feel differently this time around, and I feel like I'm here for a purpose. That's to qualify for the Olympics and play my best table tennis in London next year, 2012 Olympics, and it makes it a lot easier to get over the losses and stay focused on achieving what I actually came here to do. Almost all the best players in the world were playing at the Austrian Open. You had all the best Chinese, most of the best Germans, had the best South Koreans. It was one of the best tournaments you'll see these days, and the final especially was an absolutely cracking match between Ma Long from China and current world champion Zhang Yike from China, where Ma got the upper hand and won 15-13 in the 7th set. It basically came down to whether Ma could stop Zhang Yike playing his backhand, especially his backhand side spin flick, which is one of probably his best shot and definitely the best backhand side spin flick in the world, and whether Ma could get a strong forehand topspin in before Zhang could take over the backhand to backhand play, where he's extremely strong. Now, after being eased back into training here in Austria over the last week and a half, the easy days are over and now it gets serious. So from here on in, I'm gonna up my training to 4 or 5 hours a day, and that'll be 6 days a week basically. I'm also back into the gym this afternoon, and I'm really interested and excited to see how the coaches here, it's Dirk Wagner, who was the head coach at Dusseldorf for many years, working on a daily basis with quite a few of the best players in the world. He structures most of the physical training here, and I'm really excited to see how it works and what ideas he has and what exercises he's going to get me doing. I'll let you know.